Hello and welcome to the SME Focus show powered by MTDCNC. I'm Mark Weymouth from the Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. On this week's show, as always, we aim to highlight aspects of UK manufacturing or topics of interest to SMEs. Therefore, my guest today is Charlie Allen, Lead Project Manager at Automate Best. For older viewers like me, Automate UK is the new name of the PPMA, and BEST, which stands for Business Education Skills and Training, is the charitable arm of Automate UK, established in 2013 to promote apprenticeships in engineering, manufacturing, robotics, and machine vision industries. Hi, Charlie. Welcome to SME Focus.
Hi.
I've obviously, like all guests, looked you up on LinkedIn, and if I start with your profile, it tells me you earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in digital film production from the University of Gloucester in 2012. So I try and pick a musical reference point, and I'm going to pick that one. So July 2012 was Payphone by Maroon 5, featuring Wiz Khalifa at #1. So for those of us who sort of trying to remember when 2012 was, Maroon 5 was the thing, or Payphone was the thing. So that's the earworm for people to spend the rest of their weekend or whatever thinking about. But moving back to your Bachelor of Arts degree and not wanting to sound like an old relative at a family event, can I ask you what attracted you to film production? What was your inspiration? What were you hoping to do with a degree in film inspiration, Charlie?
So as a lot of things in my life, it came by accident. So I originally went to so I was the first in my family to go to post-16 education, so the first to go to college, and I really wanted to go to university because, again, nobody had done that in my family before. So I originally applied for history, and I applied for history in a few places, and I managed to get into Gloucestershire, and then I realized while I was there, history was a little boring. It wasn't for me. I'm like a closet historian. I am an armchair historian. I will watch all the documentaries, but studying it wasn't for me. So I was like panicking. What should I do? And they basically told me that I could just switch courses. Because I was like, I don't want to go home. I can't fail. I'm the first one to come. I can't fail. And I basically found the one with the least amount of essay writing, which now I love writing essays, but back then I really didn't like it. And I went and had an interview with the head of film production, and he was like, okay, so have you ever filmed anything? I said, no. I said, I haven't even seen a camcorder before. I've not seen a camcorder. When I went to visit them, it was the first time I'd ever seen a Mac. I should preface this as I'm from Croydon, South London, so you know, we didn't have a lot back then. We were still on our computer. We had we were only allowed on it for an hour a day at most. It was MSN Messenger and things like that. So it was still in the early days of having computers at home. And but I just said how much I loved old films like Monty Python and Nosferatu, German Expressionism. I was very much into Tim Burton and Studio Ghibli and things like that. And he was like, "You're really passionate about all of this stuff." I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, we'll let you in." And so that's really how that came about. And I specialized as a producer. So I was the one making things happen. So the logistical person, so making everyone turn up on time, making sure all of the bits and pieces were there, catering was there, locations were secured, which is quite relevant to all the roles I've then had thereafter, and especially in this role where I do a bit of everything. So it kind of worked out in the end.
Okay, brilliant. So I guess I'm going to ask you hopefully the simplest question of this interview. Can you explain to people what Automate UK is, and then we'll move on to tell us more about Automate Best?
So Automate UK is the trade association that used to be formerly known as the PPMA groups. So Automate UK consists of PPMA, so Process, Packaging and Machinery Association, BARA, the British Automation and Robotics Association, and UKIVA, the UK Industrial Vision Association. And what they do is part and parcel. The main spectacular thing they do is they hold the PPMA show in September. That's one of the things they do, but that's just only one thing that they do. The association also helps out with SMEs with legal things. It also helps out with loads of events throughout the year. They also offer training. Is one of the I mean, from somebody who's in the office with the guys who run the trade association, it's not just the PPMA show. There's lots of things other than just that show. And yes, we do other shows. We've got the Automation UK show that happens every other year now. And then we have pavilions at lots of other shows. Like I think there's one in Thailand coming up. They were just at Gulf Food. So we are definitely making the Automate UK name throughout the land, not just here in the UK, but also internationally. We're trying to help our the companies within the association spread their love wide and far.
Okay, so it gives us a really good description of Automate and BESS. Can I ask you how you found out about it first of all, and really what attracted you to the role?
Okay, so again, it's a very funny story. We love talking about this one. So I was just looking for a role to go in between my studies. I was just in my last year of schooling, and I was just applying for absolutely everything. I could not tell you. LinkedIn, I was just apply. And in amongst that, I got an email from at BT Internet email address. And it basically said, hi, if you're still interested in this role of lead project manager, can you please send an 1,000 words thing of why you would be good for the role? I paid no attention to that whatsoever because it was BT Internet. It wasn't a company email address. So I thought it was a scam. I thought it was a scam. So I just ignored it. And then a couple of days later, I got a phone call, and it was from my trustee, John, whose email it was. And he basically was like, hi, my name is John Clayton. I'm from, at that time, it was called PPMA BESS because it was going through the name change. And we were just wondering if you were still interested in the role. If you are. And so while he's talking, I've got my family Googling who John Clayton is, because obviously, we're still thinking this is a scam because he identified himself as the owner of the BT Internet email address. So we're Googling away, and we're like, okay, he's legit. And he said, okay, so you have to write 1,000 pounds, not 1,000 pounds. You have to write 1,000 words of why you would be good for the role. And I said, okay, yeah, I can do that, no problem. When do you need it by? And he was like, so like 9 a.m. tomorrow. And at that point, it was about 8 o'clock in the previous, the evening. And I was like, yeah, no problem, I can sort that. Yeah, give me 2 minutes and I'll get that done. I think I did it in like I literally did it in like an hour or two after I figured out where and what and how. And then I thought it was a scam, but I still did it anyway. It was still a bit ching. And then it was very iffy. And then I had an interview like this on Teams or Zoom, one of the two. And they thought I was crazy. They will outwardly tell you that they thought I was a bit doolally, but they found me entertaining. So I got through to the next part, which was an in-person interview in Wallington, and I had to prepare a few bits and pieces. They had a few case scenarios and things, so I had to prepare a few things. So I went into this room, and firstly it took me a minute to find where it was, but it was absolutely pouring it down with rain. So I was all dressed up to the nines, and then arrived at the front door like a drowned rat because I couldn't find anywhere to park. I didn't know I could park at that time. I didn't know I could park at the front. So I arrived like a drowned rat at the front. I had a cold. The cold was coming because I was soaked through. And I go in, and it's a room full of men who are obviously all of the trustees, and Peter Williamson, and I think Tim was on the big screen. So it was like I'm just there like a little drowned rat with my scraggly hair, sneezing, and like going through. And the interview was about an hour and a half long. It was a good chunky interview. But basically after, bless them, 9 a.m. the next day, Richard calls me and said, "We'd like to give you the job." And I was like, "Please, yay, thank you." And they were like, "Yes, we did think you were crazy, but actually you have substance with the craziness, and that's what we need." So I was like, "Thank you." And that's basically how it's been ever since. Crazy with a bit of substance.
Amazing. So if the recruitment process needs incredible perseverance and quick resume writing or article writing, what does the role include? Because if you're lead project manager, you alluded to your film training in a project manager and pulling things together. So what sort of things do you pull together? What's a day or a week in your working life like?
The one wonderful thing is because I am the only employee apart from Jingshi, my dog. That's how it is at best. Jingshi gets paid in biscuits, and so we're the ones that run the whole charity. So a week in our life could be anything. So one day I could be working on the marketing, so I could be designing leaflets, I could be designing the website, I could be doing presentations, I could be having a presentation at a bar, one of the councils. And then the next day I could be holding an event. So it could be either the Family Fun Day, or we're at one of the trade shows, or at a UCAS show. Another day could be, I guess, a business development meeting. So that's me meeting not just our own members, but also end users. It could be me meeting World Skills is something we're looking into doing. So I'm having meetings with people involved with World Skills to sort all of that out. It could be to do with the clusters. It could be, and in between all of this, I'm talking to apprentices all of the time. Whether that's giving them extra support, it could be mentoring, it could be anything. But essentially, I do everything. It's a great role for somebody like me who is a bit of a jack of all trades, that can just pick and choose what she wants to do. And I can also I'm also very, very hard on myself. I'm also very strict on myself, and everything has to be perfect all the time, which the trustees tell me to, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be workable. But I hold such a high standard for everything that we put out there. And the film production came back to life because now I have to do all the social media and all the videos and things like that, which, that wasn't a thing really back then. So it all comes back around, really. And Jingshi obviously is the lead motivational officer at in Wallington, and she mostly does social media and also motivates everybody in the office for Automate UK and Best. And she's been in a fair few very important meetings as well at this point. So she's putting her hat in for the new CEO role at the Automate UK. I don't think she's going to get very far, but she's still going to try.
You mentioned the Automate show and the various shows that the organisations puts on and is part of. And as a bit of a side, I noticed somebody making a comment on LinkedIn about how some of the big exhibitions are limited to or prohibit the under 18s. And obviously your life is involved in apprenticeships, and apprentices many of them are under 18. So can I assume that the Automate UK shows are for 16 and up?
Yes, I thought I also saw that post, and I commented. I thought it was very important to comment under that our shows are 16 plus. That is one of the, I will say that is just generally a problem, not just with shows, but also within the industry. I know it's down to insurance. I understand insurance is the issue here, but you then can't have you can't hide behind insurance if you're then going, we have a skills gap. We're trying to get young people involved. Well, fundamentally, if young people cannot see the industry, they're not going to want to be in something they can't see. So I think it's absolutely beyond important that, one, insurance needs to look at, you need to look at within your workshop and in your factory whether you can take it down to 16. You may not employ people who are 16, but they may be able to come in for work experience, might come in for the day, things like that. And then in terms of the trade shows, I don't see why, again, why there should be that restriction of 18 plus. I mean, I do know, obviously, there are other shows where the age restriction is much lower. Mac, for example, has much lower age limit. I remember being there last year and seeing children, primary school children there. But for us, I do think it's important because of where we're trying to hit, not just as an industry, but as best. We're trying to get the young people who are in the age of choosing what they want to do. So 16 is the perfect age. And as Best and Automate UK, we invite local colleges to our shows, and universities for that matter. So this year, for this year's PPMA show, we had Leicester College come. They brought 38 engineering students, and they had a full packed day, coming to see the talks, coming to meet the apprentices, coming to visit some of the companies as well. And that's really, really important. A lot of them didn't know that any of this existed. And it's so important to be able to shine a light on what we do outside of our own four walls, if that makes sense.
Yep, very much so. And the reason for asking the question was, I think we, the consumers, we, the attendees, need to actually shout a little bit at the organisers. The organisers will take the easiest path. So the easiest path is to say, no one under 18. I mean, they probably would like to say no one under 50. I don't know. But yeah, we, the attendees, the people who pay their living, need to put a bit of pressure on them to accept the 16-year-olds, I think. So that's why I put it in very last minute into the question for today. You mentioned earlier the Best Club, which sparks all sorts of thoughts of what on earth the Best Club could be. So can you tell me what your best club is?
So the Best Club is probably the best thing I've done. All of the puns are intended with using best in every shape and form. It's essentially the apprenticeship network. That's what we've called it, because they are the best. So within this network, any apprentice that gets a grant or bursary from us is automatically enrolled onto the Best Club. And we say to them that they can get involved as much or as little as they want. So for the ones who get involved a lot, they come to our shows. They come to any of our shows. It's not just PPMA and Automation UK. It could be the UCAS shows. It could be we've been to an apprentice show in Milton Keynes. Could be schools visit. Could be the Family Fun Day, and they all get involved in that. It could be that they are filming for social media. So our most recent example, the Moody lads at the PPMA show, it was their first time at any show. And I was like, here, take my phone, go and film the fun, the best things at the show. As you can see, the ice cream van obviously definitely had to win. Yeah, they really loved it. we also have things where every year I go down to Sycamore and we do a photo shoot with their apprentices, which they use within their marketing and I use in marketing, because obviously they live in the middle of Yeovil, so they can't come up very often. So we do that. It could be mentoring. It could be meals out. It could be, honestly, it's one of those, it's a very fluid networking club. And eventually what I would love to do is to have like a conference just for them. We have a WhatsApp group that's for them doing announcements. We've got competitions. We've got a current competition with Grunwald happening in February, where they can go to Grunwald for a week and play with all of the machines over there, and lots of learning, but it's essentially having a look at the machines. We also celebrate any achievement that any of the apprentices have. So Precious and Olivia from Festa have recently won some awards, so we've been celebrating them. So anything like that is all about encouragement, it's all about supporting, and it's all about, for me, it's making them feel like they're being seen within this industry, not just within their company, but beyond. They all talk to each other, they all have conversations with each other when they see each other. So it is a peer-led group. I'm just the mother hen that keeps everybody safe and make sure nobody ends up in A&E apart from me. So that's basically what it's all about.
Okay. It sounds like you have quite a challenging role, and you're not afraid to step up to a challenge. So I noticed on LinkedIn, one of the strange things that caught my eye is you just finished an MA in Chinese studies. So can I ask you what made you choose that particular challenge, and how did you find it? Okay,
so I should preface this that it probably would make sense. So I've got ADHD. I've been diagnosed through educational psychologist only in recent years, which makes a lot of sense to why this happened. So over lockdown, I got bored like everybody. I was not furloughed. I was working at a training provider, but I did get bored, and my sister and I were in the Netflix black hole, and we discovered a drama which is still available on Netflix. Thoroughly recommend. It's called The Princess Wei Young. And we started watching that, and I got hooked. It's got everything in there. It's got love, it's got romance, it's got assassination attempts, it's got intrigue, mystery, it's everything in every genre is in there. Fabulous costumes, fabulous. Oh, it's everything. And I loved it so much that I decided to watch another Chinese drama on Netflix, and then I watched another, and I noticed some of the phrasings and the words would come up a lot, and so you start to naturally repeat them when you see them. And I was like, oh, this is fun, I'm enjoying this. So then I just started to put on YouTube just Mandarin, how to learn Mandarin. So I started to learn colors and numbers, and it just escalated from a hobby to just learning, watching Peppa Pig in Mandarin on YouTube, to then going, okay, well, SOAS have an open day at I happened to be in London, and I went, and I was like, oh, why not? And again, it was one of those why not things, and I applied and got in, surprisingly. Still don't know why to this day, but again, it's one of those again, first in family to apply for postgraduate, and so that I did that part-time. I got to do some really cool things, research a lot of wonderful things, meet a lot of wonderful people. I had my graduation ceremony in September this year, which was really fun. My parents had a whale of a time, and probably do a PhD. Maybe I do kind of like this whole idea of being the first to do things. So And my sister is really rooting for me to do it. She's just she will graduate from. She's just done a postgraduate MA at King's College. She will graduate in January. She did history and world culture. She's the one to talk to about World War II stuff and ships and boats. So she doesn't want to do anymore. So she's like, Charlie, this is all you, PhD, that's you. Go on, go do that. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. But I mean, the thing is, I've never been to China yet. I still have not been. It's somewhere I really would love to go to. And I've really, really enjoyed studying it, but I do know at some point I'm going to have to go over and actually see it in person. But yeah, it's been a 5-year labor of love.
Brilliant. This show will go out on a Saturday, so many people will watch it over the weekend. So can I ask you what sort of topics you enjoy talking about to somebody, say if you're in the kitchen at a party or at the pub, or what do you talk about when you're not sat in front of a computer on a Teams call?
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the times I do talk about how I'm like a proud mum. I do talk about how amazing our apprentices are. I am a proud mum. I'm like, oh, did so and so's just won this award, or so and so's just done this. So they are all like my couple of hundred kids. They really, really are. So I do often talk about that. I mean, to be honest, this week, if you were asking me this weekend, I'm talking to people about how to fix parquet flooring, because we've just discovered parquet flooring in our house that we didn't know we had. So I'm trying to figure out how to fix parquet flooring. But yes, I'm very proud with what I do for a job, and I talk about it in pretty much every aspect of my life. Everybody asks me how my kid's doing, and it's obviously not my I don't have any biological kids. I have hundreds of adopted ones, and the thing is, it's not just the ones at Automate UK. I do still have a few kids that I mentor from previous roles, and so I still talk about them and I still check on them. So I talk about all the kids I have, basically.
Okay, so it's a traditional question on this show to ask, what do you have planned for the next 12 months, or what do you hope to achieve? So I am directing that at you and not what you hope your kids will achieve. So what are your hopes to achieve for the next 12 months, or what are your targets?
So I would like us to appear at certain shows that are happening next year. Just need to convince the trustees that is the best course of action. I do hope in the next 12 months to have a couple of teams enter World Skills in automation, even if it's just to have a go. I do hope that we have a few going in there. I also hope that we continue as best to continue spreading the word within Automate UK that we exist. That's very, very difficult to do. A lot of people, kind of see us, but they don't really know who we are or what we do. So I want to continue shouting about it. That's why I was at the Bara Council last week and the Bara Conference, to just kind of show people that we exist, even within our own trade association, and to basically cut down any additional barriers. There are loads of apprentices within our trade association that are not benefiting from our grants and our bursaries, and I just want to give them money. And it's so hard to give away money because everyone thinks that there's something attached to it, or it's not completely free. And I'm like, if you are an Automate UK member company and you have apprentices, I will give it to you. No questions asked. You just got to fill out a form, easy peasy. But no, it's surprisingly quite difficult. So I mean, we're getting somewhere. Here's an example. So between 2017 and January 2024, which is just before, when I joined, Automate Best gave out 99 awards in total. So in those 7 years, between January 2024, when I came on board, and now, I have given away 99 awards. So in less than 2 years, I've managed to do the same amount that they were able to do, that they were doing in the previous 7, which is a huge achievement. But it's also me going, there are more out there. I just need to get to them. I just need to knock on some more doors, and I need to meet some new people and just keep spreading the gospel, spread the good news, spread the good word.
So in terms of the audience of people who are watching this, so how do they go about finding out more about Automate Best? And also maybe perhaps if you can suggest any good resources or places that people can get more about apprenticeships.
So primary places you can find out about us. So we are on LinkedIn, which is where most of our stuff go. And we also are on TikTok as well, both under Automate Best. We also have the website. So if you go to Automate UK website, you'll see Automate Best along the top. And you'll have access to all of the forms and extra information about us. We also have a resource center there, which we are slowly building up with extra resources. So in the resource center, you'll see a guide to the pathway of apprenticeships and qualifications for both England, Wales and Scotland on there. You will also be able to find our email address. So if you are looking for any tailored advice, absolutely contact me. If you are a member of Automate UK, I'm a member benefit, so I'm classified as that. So you can ask me any question about apprenticeships, even if you're at the beginning stage. I'm currently helping 2 of our members from the ground up to take on apprenticeships. I also, where else can you find us? Well, you can find us at a lot of our shows. We're at quite a fair amount of trade shows. We like to get ourselves out there. So hopefully we'll be at a few more next year. We also like to spread the word about our industry at UCAS shows. We primarily go to the Birmingham one in June, but we do also listen to our members and see if we can help in any particular areas. And we also, on top of that, you can, we're in the Wallington office as well, which I know is coming under a refurb, but I'm also on the phone, WhatsApp and things like that. We have a WhatsApp community, which you can also get involved. So, yeah.
Brilliant. So before I sign off this episode to say thanks, do you have a final sentence, question, observation or thought that you'd like to sign off the episode with?
I was having a long think of what to say. And I tell people often this, that I did not know this industry existed before I started working at Best. And it is very much an industry of people tend to get in it because they know somebody who was here. And especially if you're a young person, most of the young people I've met, especially in SMEs, is because that they are a son of a friend or their uncle does it or things like that. And what I would love to do and continue to do is to spread the word of the PPMA, BARA, UKIVA industry to as many people as humanly possible, so that we continue to get new blood in it. Because we cannot, I don't think as an industry, you guys can rely on, your best friend's kid, or you need to have extra, you need to spread the love further. And that's one of the big things I would love people to take away from this, is to look beyond your 4 walls, look at the local schools, look at the local colleges, and look to create a pipeline. That's one of the things I'm working on with those 2 members that I'm assisting right now, is not just finding somebody for right now, but making sure that they have a pipeline in place for the future, so that at any point in the future, when they are looking for an apprentice. The pipeline's there so that they will be able to find it. So you guys need to be talking to your local schools. You guys need to be talking to your local, not just, primary, secondary, colleges, all the way up, because that's the only way that you guys are going to be able to smush the skills gap. And I know that's going to take a lot of effort, and it's going to take a lot of, and it will take resources. And, I'm only a resource of one and a dog. But here at Best, we're obviously going to do everything we can to help. And it's a two-way street in that respect. We can only do so much if you do so much. And ultimately, it's just about spreading the love beyond what we already do.
Brilliant. That sounds like a good summary. So I will thank you very much, Charlie, for being a guest, and in particular for taking time off your holiday away from DIYing and trying to rent a house to come and speak to me and everybody for an hour. So it's very much appreciated. Thanks, Charlie. I will wrap up with the usual words and say that if anybody wants to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or in particular if you'd like to appear in a future episode, then please contact myself or email us at inquiries@mtdcnc.com and speak to myself or Stuart Whitehead or Joe Reynolds. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. From me, Mark Weymouth at Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. Cheers. Have fun.